Welcome to the Equity.Guru Investor Roundtable. I'm Rob. That's Galen in the basement. He's making brownies. Upstairs is Vishal. He's a rich guy living in a vault. And the lovely young person in the far corner is Fabi, and she is in Portugal at the momento. We're going to talk about Niocorp, which is based in Centennial, Colorado, but they do trade in Canada. NB, Nancy, what's a good B one? Beta, Nancy Beta, on the Toronto Exchange. They have a $241 million cap. It's pretty hefty. Mark Smith is the CEO. He was interviewed by Jody Vance on our site somewhere. If you look around, you'll see it. Pretty cool. This is basic materials sector, but they're not that basic. This is like top secret-y stuff because you're dealing with niobium. I don't know what that is. Scandium. I don't know what that is. And titanium, which is part of the plate. It's in my head and also in my back. So I guess the government tries to protect some of this stuff. It must be used in some secret stuff, Galen. You'd be able to know. You're a secret agent.
Well, Niocorp, I should say, is a company that's capitalizing on the idea of critical minerals. And this is the designation the American government has given these particular minerals, not necessarily just because they are involved in tactical defensive industries, although they do have a use in all of those, but because they're critical in infrastructure. They're very important, especially considering how we're going to have to optimize moving forward. What niobium does, combined with steel, creates a lighter, more stable, a stronger, longer lasting material that goes miles in terms of budget cut or budget reduction when building, let's say, infrastructure like bridges and buildings and all this kind of lovely stuff. You can take about 20% of the cost right off the top if you start using this stuff, and about 40% of the weight. This is some interesting things taking place. Now, critical metals right now, unfortunately, the majority of them are made in China, or mined. There we go.
There, yep.
Well, they were made there initially, but mined in China and Russia. You have a couple of outlets in Brazil, but the biggest problem is with geopolitics. China and Russia are probably not going to be playing friendly with us in the next decade. That's just a matter of fact that's most likely going to happen. Now, there's nothing really wrong with Brazil, but there's this thing called a supply chain that makes logistics difficult when you're trying to bring a product into another country from a distant place. And all sorts of things can happen that breaks that supply chain down and then causes a shortage. And these items, titanium, scandium, and niobium, will be integral to our 21st century infrastructure. So we can't do without them. Now, Niocorp has a huge deposit that they are building on. They're knocking on the door of production. It's called the Elk Creek project. It's in Nebraska. It's local. It's a perfect setting. You can get everything you need right there. It's a 38-year life of mine. That's a long time. Lots of product to be had, and we're not even talking about the rare earth metals that they can also mine out of that very same place that are going to add tremendous value and also have an extreme importance in our 21st century world as well. I'm going to back off and let the other people with more brains talk about this company, but that's my 20,000-foot view.
Well, I was just going to ask you a question, Galen.
Yeah.
These metals are related to EVs as well, right? Electric vehicles?
Yeah, they do have some relation to them, but realistically, the infrastructure is the biggest seller for these items,
right,
and should be. The EVs are sort of like a nice little tap. I mean, the rare earth metals probably more so, but the niobium and the scandium and the titanium are very important for the world that we intend to create around us.
Right.
The only problem. Go ahead.
I was just thinking, we talk about the Chinese supply, but if they're building, I think there was a number that came out that they want to build like 30 million EVs per year. I don't even think they have enough rare earth to satisfy their demand.
Well, probably not, but I think we're hitting a reality trough in terms of what the EV industry can do. And I'm sorry to say that. I'm going to be a naysayer. We're reaching a point where it's going to break itself.
Right.
And the only problem with this project is you have to hang out in Nebraska. Make it easy, Huskers. All right. Fabi, when you were researching this, what popped out for you as an investor? And you're looking at the old Niocorp NB on the Toronto Exchange.
Actually, lots of different things. This is right up my alley. So I love the stuff that they have in the ground. Niobium, as has been mentioned, uh, lots of it is produced by Brazil, where I was born, as a pure coincidence. And nobody likes to produce anything depending on one country. And this is shown by the fact that this is something that I found really impressive. About, I think, 70 or 75% of the first 10 years of production of niobium has already been contracted.
Oh.
So this is a massive, massive sign that the market is looking for more niobium sources, basically for logistic reasons, and just because depending on one supplier, as we have seen with Russian natural gas, is not really the way to go. And the fact that they are in the US is actually really favorable. I see sort of a shift in sentiment, at least from the government, which is a really good sign, towards homegrown, home extracted industries, which has everything to do with what's happening right now politically, and it really plays to Niocorp's strength. Absolutely love the fact that their feasibility study, which, by the way, just means that they've spent a whackload of money trying to figure out how much stuff is in the ground and how much it's worth, considering that future money is worth less than present money. After tax NPV, so the value of these resources, are sitting at $2.35 billion, and the market cap is $240 million or something like that. That's impressive. I like those numbers. I like the disparity of those numbers very much. And yeah, there isn't very much I don't like about this company. If you scroll down a little bit, maybe you'll see their team. And one of the things that I look for in this type of company is, who do they have on their team that has worked in producing companies before? And you see a lot of the people either on the board or on the actual team have worked for extractive industries, whether it's niobium plants or something similar to it. I really, really like this. I think one weakness that they have is timing. They need to raise a lot of money in order to get this mine going, and we're in a higher interest rate environment. So that might be one thing that, actually puts them at a disadvantage. Most other factors of Niocorp make me very, very interested, very happy about it.
One question I'll throw out to everybody. Michelle's going to do a summary and then get the charts. But we've seen this with Canadian companies, and it tends to be more active in terms of volume north of the border as opposed to the American version of a stock. Now, in this case, it's an American-based company. Would you prefer to open an American account if you don't have one to invest in it, or do you just go ahead and hope you're going to get some volume and some price action north of the border on the Toronto Exchange? Any thoughts on that?
I think when it comes to mining, there's probably an equal amount of volume. I mean, it's a different exchange, very definitely, and they can access, I think the biggest ticket difference is that they can access larger financing or the larger institutional investors. With the Canadian exchange as an investor, I think you're still getting the same bang for your buck. Correct, Fabi?
I believe so.
Yeah, like I don't think they don't think there's any difference in that way. You're not going to get an advantage by going down to an American exchange unless you just want to be on the NASDAQ or NYSE.
Right. It's an OTC for them right now. 68 cents is as we record this. So is that odd given the market cap, or did Fabio already answer that question?
I think she did.
Yeah.
No, they're knocking on production's door. As Fabi did mention, they have to raise a lot of money in the hundreds of millions to cover their capital costs to create what they need to create to extract this stuff and process it. So there is some sizable investment, and they have to raise money in an unfavorable environment. But damn it, man, if you can't see that it's going to happen, I pity the institutional investor that doesn't figure that they're going to put in for this.
Yeah. And by the way, the conversion is pretty much spot on, whether it's Canadian or dollars. I just checked.
Yep.
All right, Vishal, man, what do you got?
Yeah, for sure. So, both Fabi and Galen sort of hinted at the geopolitical side of things here. Found this slide on their presentation that right now the U.S. net reliance on imports of rare earths, scandium, and niobium is 100%. You can see where they get all of their sources from, and the idea of the U.S. government sort of making this a critical what's it called? A critical element or critical commodity, I guess. I believe uranium's on that list as well. Could lead to the government saying, hey, let's get some of these projects going here so we can create some supply here in the United States. And just a few little tidbits of their project here. It is the second largest, or they say indicated or better, rare earth resource in the United States. And currently there's only 3 primary niobium mines operating around the world while demand is growing. So if we take, pretty big, good numbers there and good facts and stats. If we look at the charts here and, once more, keep in mind the type of market we are in, fear, uncertainty, people maybe getting out of some of your juniors and more riskier stuff and running into the safety of cash. If I take you guys back to May 12th, May 13th, we had big pops here. This is when the news came out where their project was confirmed as the second largest indicated or better rare earth resource in the U.S., which saw a nice large engulfing candle around the 80-cent zone and another pop up to $1.50. So we had quite the move in just a few days there. I'll measure that move there for you, about an 81% move in 2 weeks there. Since then, the stock began to fall, and we did actually bounce at that major 80-cent zone. So we have a bit of a demand zone here. That's sort of the technical term when you get support at an area that has seen a huge demand candle or an engulfing candle, as we saw here on the 12th. Since then, just not that momentum, and I think it sort of goes back to what Fabi said, just the environment that we are in. Yes, there is a big catalyst. They have their the 43101. They are raising money to get that mine going, but just the environment with high interest rates and maybe the market doubting that they'll be able to get that cash soon, but maybe in the future we'll have to price that in a bit later once all that fear and uncertainty is all gone. But technically, a bit of a pop here at 80 cents where we would expect to see buyers jump in. However, not much momentum here in the past few days, and it would be really nice if we can get over that $1 threshold, because that tends to be a very psychological resistance level, and see if we can sustain momentum from there. But as of now, 80 cents is your major support. If we do break down below 80, then we are going to look at lows maybe around 70 cents. But so far, 80 cents is the number, and it'd be good to see some sort of momentum develop here.
All right. I'm kind of into this whole niobium, scandium, titanium thing. With its Nancy Bridget, that would be NB. Those are the official military abbreviations, by the way. Nancy Bridget, NB on the Toronto Exchange.
Oh.
Mark Smith.
Oh, Bravo.
What's that?
I thought it was Bravo.
It is Bravo.
Yeah, okay.
Gullible. Mark Smith's the CEO, and they're based in Centennial, Colorado. It is Bravo. What's the end, though? I can never. What is the
Norman,
end?
I think, or something
Norman,
like that.
Norman.
I think. I could be wrong.
Nancy, come on, Nancy.
My mind's a bit slow. I think it's the Benadryl I've been taking.
Stop taking that stuff.
Yeah.
Galen, you go first. You got 7,500. Here you go. Here's your $7,500.
All right, thank you. I'm going to Mexico. No, all right.
Bye-bye.
So,
Smart.
As Vishal had pointed out, there's a bit of a rocky go with their share price right now. It does seem to be hitting its range and sort of doing that double tap. So the biggest concern, I guess, for investors is the timing of their financing to actually get construction underway. Now, for me, unless they poop the bed, like severely poop the bed, this is a thing. It's going to happen. And at the valuation they're at right now, which is, as Fabi said, something in the neighborhood of 240 million, compared to the worth of what they're going to do, it's ridiculous. There's a huge growth potential here. Now, I'm not going to trade. I'm not a swing trader. I don't play that game. But you know what? I love these guys. I'm throwing 75 in and then just
Woo!
walking away and
Wow.
let them print my money for me. That's basically it.
Jeepers creepers. Fabi?
So in an ideal world, I would throw about $3,000 right now and wait for the price to soften a little bit. So we're reaching that blue area again. But to be completely honest, that's not how I do things. When I like something, I'm just like, okay, let's go. So yeah, I'd put the full amount in it as well.
Holy smokies. I better get the bell ready.
Yeah, I can't spoil that. Yeah, I think I'm going to put the full amount as well. Interestingly enough, I don't have a rare earth stock in my portfolio, and I think this might be the one I do like. Yeah, it's a nice start, and I do like the geopolitical play there as well. Of course, it's just something. Oh, there was the bell. There was the bell.
That happens when everybody goes in for the full amount. Congratulations.
Yeah, so 7,500 for me. There we go.
Damn, you guys are maniacs. It's Niocorp, Centennial, Colorado, NB, Norman Bravo on the Toronto Exchange, or Nancy Bridget.
I think it's supposed to be November.
November, Bravo.
There you go.
November, yeah.
That's right. Niobium, scandium.
I'd make a lousy army telegrapher, let me tell you.
I like Nancy Bridget. Nice gal.
Norman? Don't you know Norman? Oh, never mind.
Norman. Mark Smith, CEO. Good stuff. And you can catch him on the OTC at NIOBF. But we're doing NB on the Toronto Exchange. Nothing we've said is guaranteed, of course. You have to do your own research on Niocorp. Please do your homework before investing, because again, like I said, we can't guarantee what we've said will come true. And past performance does not guarantee future results. So be careful out there, but have some fun with your niobium. That's what my mom used to say. Grandma used to say that. Take it easy with your titanium. And for Galen in the basement with his brownies, and upstairs Michelle, Fabi in Portugal, Rob in Vancouver. We'll see you all on the very next Equity Guru Investor Roundtable.